The Ogio 9800 gear bag retails at over $300. The Ogio Rig T3 retails at $500. Is it worth it? I don't know. Let's check and see. Needless to say, the Ogio T3 gear bag is big, real big. In fact, it's so big that it actually has 3 bags in one. Let me show you what I'm talking about. So like I said before, the Rig T3 comes with 3 bags in total. You get a helmet bag, you get your gear bag, which has a bunch of accessories and pockets, which we'll get into, plus over on the side, the boot bag. Now, full disclosure, you'll notice I have a lot of Ogio gear bags behind me, but I want you guys to understand this video is not sponsored by Ogio. Here's the thing with most other gear bags that I've found. I've owned everything from Fox and Thor, Moose Racing, and countless other gear bags throughout my years of riding. And more often than not, there's 2 main issues with gear bags. Number 1, zippers. They tend to break after hundreds of times of opening them up and closing them. On my Ogio bags, I've never had that issue. Number 2, I tend to tear a lot of gear bags at the seams, and I've not had that issue with Ogio bags either. But $500 is steep for a gear bag, and I totally get that. So let's get into the reasons why this gear bag is retailed that way. This bag offers a massive opening with 36 inches of room. 8,800 cubic inches of storage is inside this bag, much bigger than you'll find in most. On top of that, you'll notice that it's pretty rigid, meaning that when you put stuff in here, you're not fighting the bag to keep it open. With the boot bag inside as well as the helmet bag, you might think, well, that takes care of all of that room. But you'd be wrong. Down here on the lid of the gear bag, you have a few options for gear. One, there's this massive opening where you can actually put some gear inside of to keep it separate from some other dirtier gear, as well as multiple pockets that allow for gloves and even wet gear to breathe down here below in this mesh. Now on top of that, they've also thought about keeping your gear dry by allowing for this opening here in the mesh and a strap to keep that part open. The storage continues to the front here, where you can actually open up this portion as well and allow for whatever else you decide to put inside of this gear bag. I run my gear bags a little bit different. I prefer to have my boots outside of my bag separately and carry this alone. And Ogio actually thought about that. If people don't want to run all of their gear inside their gear bag, they allowed for these mesh dividers that you'll see here to give you some room to separate helmet from other gear, and they give you 2 of them. One thing that I thought was really innovative on this bag was this right here. It's basically a tool holder that opens up and allows you to have a small area for wrenches or some suspension adjustment tools. This thing is rad and it tucks right into your gear bag. The buck does not stop there. There is actually a changing mat inside of this bag. So when you decide to go out to the track and your gear bag is next to you, you can actually open up this mat that is held on by your gear bag and allows you to not step in the dirt while you're changing. Also just a cool add-on. The last thing I'll point out before we get into why I love this bag so much is I want you to notice this back portion here. It's called the Sled, and it's here for 2 main reasons. Number 1, it offers protection. If you're a person who likes to travel a lot, this gives rigidity to the bag, allowing it not to collapse in on itself. And number 2, if you'll look over here, these big wheels that allow for you to get into the dirt, sand, or just take it through the airport without having to worry about these things coming apart. So I wanted to give you guys an apples to oranges comparison. Now both these bags are gear bags from Ogio. This one only retails at $169. It comes with lots of cool stuff in the opening, but nowhere near as much stuff as the T3. One thing I want you to note though with this bag is this material is pretty thin. It's just one layer. The difference is that on this bag, this is an outer canvas, which is super tough, mixed with an inner polyester lining, and in between it, even though you guys can't feel it, is actually padding between those two layers. Why? Because this offers protection while the bag is full. So any of the stuff that you put inside, whether it's banged around at the airport while you're traveling or in the back of your truck sliding around, it's meant to protect, something that that bag does not do. Now, this bag doesn't come with the sled on the bottom, and that's okay. It still comes with some aggressive wheels. But you'll notice one thing when you get up close. This bag has definitely seen some better days on the corner, and there's a little bit of fraying. On the T3 though, they've actually thought about that. All their corners are wrapped or lined with some sort of plastic liner that stops the bag from fraying. One thing I said earlier is we were talking about zippers tearing. Now this gear bag, I haven't had any problems with these zippers, but you'll notice it's actually a pretty small zipper overall. Come over to the T3 and you'll notice these things are massive. On top of that, the handles are made out of metal instead of plastic with a grip on the inside just to make it that much smoother. Now let's talk about the accessory bags that come in the T3. Starting off with the helmet bag, again, this bag has 3 liners, an outer liner that's really tough, an inner liner that's nice and soft for your helmet, and padding in between so your helmet doesn't get knocked around. On top of that, the outside does have an extra spot for whatever you'd like. Now, I wish they would have put something like a goggle zipper here where you could actually unzip it and put a full-size goggle, but this is not that big. Maybe a set of gloves could perfectly fit in there. So this is a Troy Lee helmet. It's a size large, just to give you some comparison to how big this bag actually is. Fits in there perfectly and still has some room. So you could definitely put in an XL and maybe bigger. I absolutely love the Ogio boot bag. I have had one for about 2 years now and never seen this thing tear or have an issue with any of its components. What's really cool about it is when your boots are inside of it, you can throw it over your shoulder like so, or it does have a big handle on top. And my boots are a size 11, and these things do not take up all the room that's inside of it. You'll also notice that there's vents. After a long day of riding, you know that your boots are sweaty, so they want to make sure that all that moisture has a chance to wick out. So they put vents in there, which is awesome. Is this bag worth $500? Well, that really depends on if you're gonna use it that much. Me and my family go out riding almost every single weekend during our riding season here in Arizona, and during the summer we try and get a couple more. And like I said before, I've blown through a lot of bags taking stuff in and out, throwing it in and out of the back of my truck. This bag would make sense for someone who's gonna use it every single weekend, or who is really on top of keeping their gear safe and sound inside of their gear bag. If you're a traveler who rides all over the world or all over the country, yeah, this could also work for you as well. Do I think that the average every other week or once a month rider needs to spend $500 on such an awesome product? No, but that's okay. Ogio offers a lot of different gear bags that could fit your needs that aren't as expensive as this. If you're in need of a gear bag like the Rig T3, go to my description and click on the link and you can get one there. Outside of that, MotoFam, I hope you liked this video. Go ahead, like and subscribe. Comment below what we should review next, and we'll see you on the next one. Peace out, guys.